Where are these remote campsites? Can we just camp anywhere? How do you know you're allowed to sleep there? These are all questions we're going to be answering today. The United States has 640 million acres of public land. Most of this land you could camp in, and you can do so for absolutely free. Hi, my name is Chris. You're watching Nomad Over Normal, a channel where we dive deep into the departure of a conventional lifestyle. Right now, we're in Joshua Tree National Park. There's camping within the park, but it's designated paid camping sites, and this video isn't about finding those. If you want to find free campsites, there are also apps and online communities that aggregate and review certain designated areas. We're also not going to be using those. The reason is we're focused on finding remote campsites that people don't talk about or even know about. The tool that we're going to be using for a job like this is Google Maps. That's how we discovered the campsite we're headed to right now. I found one potential location that we could camp, and we made it here. Right at the entrance, you could see a really harsh terrain. We're on the right side. That doesn't look too bad. We're in a place we've never been to before, and yet confidently knew where to set up camp even after the sun went down. We have this to ourselves. We hear nothing but our footsteps and our voices. It's so crazy to be out here. How did we know we'd find what we were looking for? Well, it wasn't luck. When I'm finding these campsites, it takes a lot of research. I'm sure that you can get lucky and find a spot like this where it's legal to camp. However, you will have to be pretty familiar with the area and the geography that you're staying in. I'm not just gonna drive out here without getting a good understanding of the terrain. So how do I do this? I open up two different tabs. The first tab is Google Maps Satellite View. And the second tab is of publiclands.org. This is the key to everything. So if you take a look at the Public Lands website, what you're gonna see is different color-coded terrain. The gray, that's city. That's like urban development, that's developed land. Now the nature lands, if you're looking at the dark purple areas, like we're looking right here at Joshua Tree National Park, that's gonna be dark purple. Now in most national parks around the country, you cannot legally boondock, with very few exceptions. I know one of those exceptions is Teddy Roosevelt National Park, as well as Death Valley National Park, where you could camp pretty much anywhere as long as you go far enough off the main road and you follow the posted rules that they have there. So there's many different types of public land out there. There's national parks, there's national forests, there's state parks, there's state forests. For the most part, except for the national parks, most of these areas are fair game, and the way that you can really determine is just go to that state park, that state forest, that national forest website, and you can see right there, it'll tell you, can I camp here? Most of the time it's yes, with very few exceptions. Sometimes if it's an extremely trafficked location, the government might put a cap on the amount of campers they let go in, and you might have to qualify for a permit in order to do that. And the permit is a small fee, and it's just so that somebody knows that you're out there. We want to make sure that this person's safe out there. But there's also other types of public land, such as where I am right now, the BLM land. Now, Bureau of Land Management is one government division that owns open space land, undeveloped open space land around the United States, primarily on the western side. What's so cool about this land is it's just open vista. Anyone can come here. You can camp, and there's pretty much like no rules. You can't legally have a campfire in Joshua Tree National Park. Just 20 miles to the east, you can in the BLM lands. So on publiclands.org, BLM lands are indicated in yellow. What we want to do is synchronize to make sure that we're in the same area of coverage on the Google Maps and on national park lands. You could see the areas that you could legally camp here northeast of Joshua Tree National Park. If that's what you want to do, that's what we did. We're in the BLM lands up there. So now we're gonna go over to Google Maps. And on Google Maps, we're gonna be looking at the satellite view because we need to start following roads. And this is where it gets really cool. You become like a bit of an investigator. Your best bet is to follow the main highways and then start noticing the different dirt roads that pull out of the main highway, that connect to the main highway, and start following them. And it's gonna take you a while because you might find dirt roads that look like they're connected to houses, and you're not really sure if they're owned property or private land or anything like that. But just keep looking, and eventually you're gonna be like, okay, yeah, I see this
clearly deep in the BLM lands. Here's a dirt road, here's trails. Clearly people have been off-roading here. And then you're gonna be looking for something else. We've established that, okay, we could camp here. The best campsites are found, not created. We need to respect the land that we're on. That means if you're off-roading, stick to the trails, guys. Let's be responsible. This land is a gift for us. And the moment we start abusing it is the moment we start losing it, not just from the natural side, but the government's gonna come in and squash our ability to do what is our freedom in this amazing, geographically diverse country. So we need to be really respectful, stick to the paths. Now back to the main assignment here. You're gonna be following these paths on the satellite view of Google Maps, and you're gonna find a spot that you're gonna wanna be camping in. The way that you find these spots is they're called pull-offs. Pull-offs are little indents, little divots cut out of those dirt roads. If you see these pull-offs, that's a pretty good indication that somebody has camped there before. Sometimes you might even see tire tracks. This is what's so cool, because these types of areas you're not going to be finding on those RV research apps. There's like Overland X, Campendium. Those are great apps, but every single marked designated campsite on those apps are flooded with people. You're gonna have crowds and crowds of people. And here's the thing, even if you find a place and you get a campsite, and let's say you're okay being around 6 people, what you're gonna have happen all day after it fills up, because it's gonna fill up fast, is you're gonna have people coming to check if the campsite is full. And that gets annoying really quick, where let's say 7 times a day you see somebody with their Ford F-150 and a giant trailer circle the entire camp and then circle out and go down the road again to another spot. That's a little bit of a disconnect from nature. We're trying to go places less traveled, because if you're watching a video like this, odds are you love nature.
And you probably want to find your own remote sanctuary like this riverbed down in southern Utah, which we happened to make a video all about how we came across. We traded in the camper van that we were staying in for this Subaru. Its mission? To bring us back home to the East Coast, the scenic way, and within a sprint of the many national parks that were our targets.